Good morning, everybody. We are here live with Ramp Real Access Motivates Progress live podcast. We have a great show for you. One organization that is near and dear to my heart, the Autism Project. April is Autism Awareness Month, so what a great way to kick off our April podcast by having two great ladies on. So without further ado, let me bring Susan and Joanne live so you guys get to meet them. Good morning, ladies. How are we today?
Good morning.
Good. How are you, Tina?
Good. I can't wait to tell the world all about what you do. So, Joanne, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Joanne Quinn. I'm the executive director here at the Autism Project. We are located in itty bitty Rhode Island, but we're getting out there across the world right now with the things that we do. I've been here now for about 22 years. And I am the proud mother of three young men, Michael, Daniel, and Patrick. And my youngest, Patrick, is a 29-year-old young man who is autistic and has got me on this journey and has been guiding my life for a very long time. So, Sue, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Susan Jewell, and I am the manager of family support here at the Autism Project. I am also the parent of Julia and Emily, and they are 28 and 24, and both of my daughters are autistic as well. And I guide the family support team here at TAP.
Oh, I am so excited to talk to you guys about everything with April being Autistic Awareness Month. I'm sure you have a lot of things going on. Joanne, tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Autism Project and what we can expect.
We're busy. It's, we've grown. When we started, we had a desk, a computer, and me, and now we have about 30 employees, and we're actually working hard to get the word out across the globe. So the Autism Project started, and it really grew out of classrooms, public school classrooms, and all the people involved there, the teachers, OT, PT, speech. And it was back in the mid 90s. They were seeing a lot more kids with pervasive developmental disorder, autism, and eventually Asperger's as diagnoses. And they were pretty much pre-K through third grade educators. And they were special educators with a lot of training, but they didn't have training in how to educate within the public school these kids. And that was very important, that kids are able to be educated in their public schools with their families, with their neighbors, et cetera, to the best of everybody's abilities. We're very well aware that some kids need extra care and can't be supported in their public schools, but that's always been our ultimate goal. And so they started researching, and I keep telling everybody this was microfiche days. It wasn't internet. There wasn't an internet. There were barely car phones. And so they were going to conferences and learning what they could and came up with our philosophies and our evidence-based work that we do. And it's basically, if you make eye contact with us, we're going to engage with you and give you some information so that you can be better at what you do when working with an autistic person. Whether you're a teacher, a nurse, a mom, a caregiver, a dad, grandparents, we are going to give you the most current, because we are lifelong learners here at the Autism Project, and we like to share what we learn with everybody. We're going to teach you the most current evidence-based practices that you need and can have to support your loved one or the kids who you're working with. So,
do you work with people who are autistic, all age spans from young to old? Because I know, people, they can age out of the school system or whatever, but what is the age limit, or is there an age limit? Sue, can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
There is no age limit. We have programming, and my team works with individuals who are autistic and, one-on-one, a lot of times helping them with, finding resources, or folks will call us who think they may be on the spectrum and want to know where they can get a more formal evaluation done. Adults will call us. But we also have social skills groups here at the Autism Project that start at the age of 5 and go all the way up through adulthood into our Unity community, which is our adult social group. So my daughters go to the Unity community group twice a week here. They have a great program where they're working with the URI Master Gardeners, and they harvested, I don't know how many pounds last year, Joe?
225 pounds of vegetables.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And they cook some of it and they donate the rest of it. And it's a great safe environment for them to be with their peers and to do fun stuff, meaningful stuff,
It's amazing.
Also,
And what people need to realize out there is people on the autism spectrum, sometimes you can tell right away, sometimes you can't tell at all. My son was diagnosed on the spectrum at a very young age. He did a lot of things, especially with like the sensory issues my son
mhm,
had. And he's now a paramedic, going to school for his
mhm.
license, and you would never know the difference. So there are so many people that are all over the spectrum. Joanne, kind of touch base on telling people, give us a little idea of how to interact or how to tell or how to treat people with autism.
That's a loaded question, Tina. You know, I don't want to generalize it, but
Assume
first of all,
competence, I'll start with.
assume competence. Even if somebody doesn't speak, assume they understand what you're saying, or the person with them understands what you're saying. But always talk with the person first. It's to talk about respect of the individual. And when we say talk to the individual, if you can, write down also, if you have a question, the more you can present to somebody visually, the better it is for them to process. And this is a big generalization. You really can't say it, because if you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism. So you really need to understand if somebody's there with a caretaker, how is it best to communicate with this individual, and then communicate with that individual in that manner. Or say to the person, how do you like me to communicate? Would you like me to talk to you, or do you want me to write it down? And that's for people with less communication skills. There, like you say, there's a lot of people out in the world who are in the working world or in academics or education where they're masking, unfortunately, some of the struggles that they have, but they're doing such a good job of it. Whereas we can just, in a general way, be more respectful of everybody. And if somebody seems to be struggling, saying, is there something I can do to help you? What is it that I can do to make your experience here at this conference at work better? Without saying, oh, you have autism, how can I help you? Right. That's not what we want.
And that's across the board. I mean, I know I see that a lot, me being in a wheelchair, if I'm with somebody, they usually talk over me to the person behind me. So, that's people of disability, but that's, as they say, regular people as well. Everybody interacts with people differently. So you kind of got to take a minute, take a breath, and try. My dog's sitting down and moving my whole camera. You need to take a breath, and you need to see how that person best responds to you. Susan, do you want to add a little bit to that?
Well, no, I'm going to echo what Joanne said in assuming competence. I think oftentimes with our folks who are non-speaking or have limited or unreliable language, that we make the assumption that they're not hearing everything that we're saying, and so it's all about being respectful. And one of my amazing daughters, Emily, if you talk to her like she's a baby, you're going to get your hair pulled, and she doesn't have a lot of language, but that's the way she's going to let you know that, she is in there. And just because she's not speaking doesn't mean she's not understanding.
Yeah. Tell everybody how they can get involved. I know people always want to help. And to me, education and awareness is the best way to get involved. The more you know, the better you can help, the more you can get involved. So tell everybody what the best way is that they can help the Autism Project, one, thrive, and two, help themselves learn more.
We have a lot of different ways. We're with you, Tina. Education is intervention should be our mission statement, but is a core value. And we educate everybody and anybody who will talk to us and wants to learn about their nephew, their niece, the firemen. We are doing so much work here in Rhode Island with the Department of Justice and the first responders to give them information in the way they best learn, right? So we've made videos that are 9 minutes long because, 9 minutes is a long attention span for me. But instead of a 2-hour presentation to firemen or rescue who just got off their 12-hour shift, is not going to be as effective as a 9-minute. This is what you really need to know. Here's the information. Right. And by the way, here's a packet with all those visuals we're talking about in that. So that if you're with somebody, regardless of if they have autism or any other disability, if they're having a hard time communicating, but they can point, where does it hurt? Yes, no. Did you break your arm? Do you think you did this? There's ways that they can learn that in the way that they learn, short and sweet, just to the point. Right. And so we've been doing some really good work with them, also introducing our families and people across the age spectrum to first responders in full gear, in their cruisers, in their trucks. So when they pull up, they're not afraid, right? And if somebody elopes and fire and rescue are looking for them, we're teaching them how to approach them so they don't dig deeper and don't get more and more, away from us. So we can get involved with that. We do a lot of education training.
I'm gonna stop you just interrupt you for one quick second, because I do have a question. Explain, either one of you, explain elope, because when we think of elope, as normal people, we think of two people running off and getting married. So can you just, but that's what I'm saying. They're like, what does elope mean? You know what I mean? So if you can just kind of delve into that a little bit, just to kind of break it down for everybody.
That's a very important question. Thank you. We try not to get too much into our acronyms and stuff.
Mhm.
Elopement is when somebody slips away, runs away, walks away from a situation and you don't know it. Basically, kids or adults, for many reasons, run away, and you don't know it. And so when they're gone and you call the police or you call the fire and rescue or 911, we want to have some sort of relationship and understanding with that community about how our community works, how our people communicate and understand, and how we can help them if they've eloped. Wandering and drowning itself is the number one death killer for our kids. So we really are doing a lot of work, especially here in the Ocean State, a lot of work around that, and really working to see if we can get kids into lessons earlier, even learning how to float. But most importantly, making people aware. If somebody who elopes, who gets away in the middle of the night, when everybody's sleeping, different times, we want fire and rescue to know about that child in the community, know some of the places they like to go to. So when the family calls, they're not saying, oh, for Pete's sake, why is this family letting their 5-year-old out at 3 a.m? Well, guess what? We're not. And they understand what families go through and how we don't sleep because we're constantly monitoring doors and windows, or if we don't nail them shut already. So that's what elopement is. And that's a lot of the work. The Department of Justice is really committed to trackers and other things to help. If somebody has a child who runs, all day long and tries to get out of situations, so that we can track and find them.
And we also have families come up with safety plans for their home too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Susan, that was the next question I was going to ask you. They want to know, what is the most misconception for families, or the most hesitation for families to come forward to get the help that they need?
Around elopement, or just in general?
Just in general.
It's all over the board. It's very personal. I think a lot of times what we find is we hear that families don't want a label attached to their child, and so even if they are, maybe showing signs of ASD, they may not be willing to go and get that formal diagnosis because they don't want a label. And we work with families and we coach them and let them know in a very nice way they are going to get a label. It's just not going to be the right label with the right support that comes along with it.
Right.
Because they're going to get a label of noncompliance or, fill in the blank. They're going to get a label. But I try to work with families and look at a diagnosis as information. And even though it's difficult sometimes to hear that information right out of the gate, when you get a diagnosis, you already have so much information about how your child learns, how they perceive the world, what we can do to support our children in a visual way. And it's a lot of information in that diagnosis. And we kind of lead with that because that's what carried me when I was getting 2 diagnoses of my kids is it's still Julia, it's still Emily. Now we have a word for what's going on with them and how we can support them.
And that's the thing. The biggest, go ahead, Joanne.
Sue and her team are really good too, and working with the professionals also to say, it's not that we don't want it. We have so much fear because, when you're going in for a diagnosis, you're an accountant or you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a doctor or you're a house cleaner or you don't know the first thing about autism. And suddenly people are talking with these really big words and really intervention this and intervention that. And we really work with the families to meet them where they are at. How much information can they hear? We believe that if we know something or the doctors know something about their child, they need to tell them because it's information that they need to have. But Sue and I have evolved, to really understand how a family receives information and how much can they, they have to have it. But how do we do that? How's best for us to tell you things that are hard sometimes? And the better thing too is we all have lived experience. So we're there to support them while they're hearing that. And we can answer a lot of the questions that they have. but we're also humble enough to know that if we don't know the answer, we know somebody else who does, and somebody else who's an expert who can explain more of the medical stuff. We don't play doctors on TV or here in the office. We are just peers, and we've lived through this, and we know it's hard. And usually at the other end of it, we also reassure them that should they go in and have an evaluation and end up with a diagnosis, it's good information, but it doesn't, you don't suddenly have to slap an A on the back of their child.
Right.
You know, it's for you to know and for you to parse out where you think it's important for people to know.
The way I looked at it when I was going through it, because, you know, I had a lot of family meetings saying, oh, you don't want to take him to this. You don't want to get him labeled for this. To me, I didn't care what label they gave him, as long as they gave him services and we got him on the right track. To me, I went everywhere that I possibly could, and I don't care what you said, as long as you gave me more services and got me the information I needed. And I think more people need to have that. That label doesn't matter. It more matters that you're getting the service. So do what you need to do. Because like I said, I went through it. My son went swimming for the first time in a turtleneck and long sleeves and sweatpants and socks because he didn't want his skin to touch the water. But now, like I said, he's a paramedic. He's doing everything that he's doing. You wouldn't even know the difference. So for me to be scared to get a label, he would have never been where he is today because of the services that he received to get him where he's at. One of the questions that I have right now is, do children or adults with autism, can they work a functional job? My answer is yes, but I'd like to hear your answers.
If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with
The
autism.
answer is yes, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you help people with autism?
So it's very individual.
Find their strength to get a job.
We work with the families to have the families find their own strengths and the individual strengths for them to live the most independent and purposeful life they can. What that looks like is different for everybody. We hold the bar high. Sue, she is the biggest cheerleader for, assumed competency. Just because somebody doesn't speak doesn't mean they aren't capable. And that's coming out more and more as technology catches up with our non-speaking, autistic members here, because we run a group, for instance, where everybody uses an augmentative communication device, including the staff. So the staff is not allowed to speak during the group. And we've just started this, and boy, are we humbled as we realize how long it takes to type in what you want to say, and everybody else has already moved on. But we're doing that, right? So we understand what Mary, Joey, and Louie have to go through just to say, yes, I want ice cream before somebody gives them a cupcake, right? So the staff, that they can't talk, and they're like, well, wait, I'm still typing, and it's it's so informative that, all right, what do we have to do so our members who use augmentative communication are part of the group and truly part of the group? What does the rest of the community here need to do so that we know to just stop, shut up, and let Joey get his thought across before we answer for him? Because guess what? From doing that, some of the participants in their other groups are confident that these knuckleheads who are the leaders of the groups are actually going to listen to me now. So they put the effort in with the augmentative community, and we have conversations going now, and people are getting what they really want. So it's individual. And what's a meaningful job for Julia is not a meaningful job for Patrick. And what is it? And, my son Patrick speaks a lot, right? But he doesn't understand a word that you're saying. And it's very difficult for him in a room where there's lots of people around him. Right. And he, exhaustion-wise, can manage 9 hours a week. And he works at Trinity Rep. And they hired a whole bunch of people to be there to clean up after the shows. They got rid of the professionals and hired a whole bunch of our people. And they're paid. They have a schedule. But he can do 9 hours. And the cognitive effort for him to pay attention and be on point and hearing all this conversation around him that he doesn't necessarily understand is exhausting. So there's, and if you met Pat, everybody would be like, he's fine. He could work at doing this for 40 hours. No, he can't. Because the amount of work his brain has to put in to understand what people are saying and to understand what he's supposed to do. And what was the rule for that again? On my right foot, all that. And that's enough. He's happy, right? And he fills his life with a whole bunch of other stuff.
That's for everybody though, because as what, like I said, again, what they call typical, there's some kids that, are not working and still living at home at 30, 40 years old that, could do it. And then there's other people who are putting in 20 times the time work to do the 9 hours, but are successful at it. So if you treat everybody like a normal person, or just a regular person, and find everybody's strengths and weaknesses, because we all have them. I use talk to text to do all of my texting. I don't type. I do talks to text, and then I go back and fix it where I have to, because I talk faster than I could type, so it works for me. So we all find that glitch that we need to make it work. I'm so excited. It's such a great thing. Susan, I don't want to remiss. I want to talk about the walk. We have the Autism Walk coming up, and I am so excited to be part of this. So tell everybody a little bit about the walk.
Well, I'm going to defer that to you, Joanne, because you're the MC of the walk.
This is our 22nd walk, and please pray to whoever you pray, or dance to whoever you dance to, that it's warm and sunny out, even just dry. It has been.
I've already ordered it, so we have nothing to worry about. I've already ordered sun and warmth, so I usually get what I want.
Had 2 years of COVID, and then 2 years of the coldest, darkest, rainiest days, and it's just miserable, because it's also a family fun day. It's the Imagine Walk and Family Fun Day. And we get between 4,000 and 6,000 people at Goddard Park here in Rhode Island. And it is, as Sue used to call it, Christmas, because we're there. Everybody understands. Somebody's having a hard time. The only thing anybody's going to do is say, hey, can I help? Or they're going to let you handle it if they see you okay with your kids. And, we make it as sensory friendly and et cetera as you can, with 4,000 to 6,000 people in the park. But we keep the noise level down. We have a sensory break area, et cetera, et cetera. So it's also our largest fundraising of the year. We do a lot of scholarships for camp and our social skills groups, and nobody gets turned away from camp because they can't pay. I look at my staff and I go, "Aren't you adorable?" Saying we're going to have a wait list. Okay, no, that's just not going to happen. We just keep safety first in numbers. But last year we just added a third week, because we had 45 people 18 and over who came the third week. So that's amazing. Moved them, and that got us 44 or 45 more 5 to 18-year-olds in the first 2 weeks. So, but that is supplemented by the walk.
When and where, time, place, and date of the walk.
The walk is April 28th. Starts at 9 o'clock registration, 10 o'clock kickoff, and it goes until 1 o'clock.
And I will be there, so you guys can all come down and see me, because I will be rolling around. I missed it last year because I had sent me away. But this year, I've already put it on my schedule. I'm not leaving Rhode Island. I'm going to be at the walk this year, so I am very excited. Susan, tell everybody how they can donate, be part of, make a team, be part of the walk.
Well, I believe you can go to our website, and it has all the instructions. If you want to create a team, you can, we've got a platform that does that pretty simply. You can pre-register. You can sign your team up. We have T-shirts today.
Send it out to all your friends.
All your friends, absolutely.
And what is the website, Susan?
www.theautismproject.org. And so they can sign up.
Tell everybody, why they should participate and make a team.
Well, I think the work that we do is pretty amazing. And like Joanne mentioned, this is our biggest fundraiser. We are, kind of a small grassroots organization that has always relied on this walkathon to continue to push us forward, to help our individuals with ASD, and then also people who are supporting them, whether they're a family caregiver, professionals that are supporting them. All of our training on the parent and everything we do for our families, as far as education, is at no cost. It's part of our mission statement. But Joanne's still got to pay us a little something to keep our team here. And so I think that we do great work in it. It's well worth the investment in us.
So that's the autismproject.org. Make sure you go to the website, sign up, make a donation, do whatever you can, be part of this, because I know you all know somebody that has autism. You may not recognize it, but you all know somebody who has autism. So you're not just helping out a perfect stranger. You're helping out somebody or somebody that's up and coming that we're making a difference. I'm going to start with Susan on this, and I'm going to end with Joanne, but I'm going to ask you both the same question. If you had to leave everybody with one big thing of why they should get involved with the Autism Project, what would it be, Susan?
I think support for families and children are hugely important, but I also think that the education piece is intervention. And the more that we understand about our individuals with ASD, the more we understand our own children, the better off we can make it a better world for them.
Joanne, the same question.
Same question. You should get involved with us because it's all of our responsibility to make a better community. And here at the Autism Project, we work, yes, to educate our members on social interactions, communication, etc. But if we don't have a safe, warm landing place in the community where there are people who also understand what their needs are, we have to change if we're asking them to change. And when I say change, if we're teaching them how to speak, if we're teaching them ways to communicate different, we have to have a receiving end. So we have to be ready here in the community too. And to do that, it's huge and it takes money. Nobody likes to talk about money, but it does take money. And our donations, we also have a very low overhead, and a good portion, 85% of our funding goes directly to the programming. We keep our overhead low, but like Sue says, I have to pay my staff, and our staff is big. We're getting bigger, but we're reaching more and more people. And your money is used wisely.
And I'll tell everybody, you want a beautiful sunny day by the water, April 28th, 9 a.m. Guarded Park is absolutely gorgeous. I love it when people invite me to walks over at Guarded Park because you are literally by the ocean. It's going to be a bright, sunny, gorgeous day, so everybody needs to be there. Come on down and you can learn a lot. You don't want to walk. There's a lot going on. There's enough going on there at the station. You're at the carousel, right?
No, we take over the whole big field.
Across from the carousel. Oh, they're going to be on the field. So come on down to the field. You're literally right by the ocean. The walk is beautiful, but if you don't want to walk, I don't walk. I go anyway. So you don't have to walk to be part of it, but you can learn. You can see these amazing people for yourself and how amazing they are and all of their supporters. I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite days to go. I was so sorry I missed it last year, but nothing is stopping me from missing it this year. So come on down to Guarded Park, April 28th. 9 a.m. is check-in. It goes to 1 o'clock. Stop by, bring your family, bring your wallets, bring your money. Make sure you come down. Joanne and Susan, what did we forget to talk about today?
I think we covered it.
I think you say that you have people in Singapore watching you. Our training is available worldwide now. Our training manager was just out in California training 300 cities on how to be neurodiverse and supportive of neurodivergent people within their offices as well as their employees. So we have trained in China, in India, South Africa, Southern Africa, Nevada, all over. So come to our website. If you need information, we can get it to you because there's a lot of places out there that are not as small and population dense as Rhode Island is, and people can't travel. So the COVID was good to us. We have quite a catalog online, and even more is coming. So whatever you do, we will have information for you to be better at your job when interacting with autistic people.
And the great thing about them too is it's hands-on. You don't have to be in front of somebody to get the information you need to start the process. Go online, get some of their training. You don't have to interact with anybody. You can keep your privacy. You can learn the information. There's so much on there. I've gone through them. Make sure that you're taking that step. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to get the information and to get the training and to learn what you need to know to be more successful in your life, in your loved one's life, in your friends' lives. Go online, get the introduction, and that's all over the world. So it's the autismproject.org. April 28th at 9 a.m. at Guarded Park are the dates you need to remember. You're going to see all of us there. But if you need to know or talk to one of us or talk to one of these amazing ladies before then, and you forget all of this, reach out to me. They are not only my colleagues, they are my friends. So if you reach out to me, I can put you in touch with them and we can make this happen. So the autismproject.org, April 28th, I cannot stress that enough. Come on down to the beautiful Guarded Park and meet these wonderful ladies. Joanne, your 1 minute wrap up for us.
Thank you, Tina. No, I've been at this for 22 years, and I see the change it made in my son's life, and we see the change it made in so many others. And we are so committed to the parents and caregivers because we carry the burden, right? And we carry the burden of intervention until we get insurance and everything else up there to really get our kids and our young adults what they need. And we want to give them skills so they can be successful. We don't want to change them. We don't want to cure them. We want to give them information so that they can be their best selves in the most independent way they can. So we appreciate your support. We appreciate support from around the globe, as we're passionate to get the word out of what we've learned, we've practiced, we've been humbled by. It's all evidence-based, and we're ready to help you at the level of help that you're ready to receive.
Oh, I
That's
thank you
important.
both for all of your work. And as you said,
Thank you.
everybody is perfect just the way we are. We just need to learn how to interact and to be our best selves and live our best lives. Thank you, ladies. I will see you both on the 28th if I don't run into you and see you prior to. But thank you for all of you do. And I will definitely be spreading the word, and I will see you on the 28th. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Tina.
What a great show. What a great project to be involved with. Everybody needs to be there and make sure. And as I always say, don't just sit there, make a difference. Stay tuned, stay involved, and get the education you need to make a difference in everybody's life.